Alright. Sorry about that. I accidentally hit the stop record instead of pause record button after I finished number 6. So I've gone ahead and posted that. And let's get number 8 going here. Alright. We've got x is equal to negative b over 2a. So that's negative 3 over 2 times negative 1, which is negative 3 over negative 2, or positive 3 over 2, or 1.5. Okay, so my axis of symmetry is 1.5. Okay, let's go over here. And at 1.5, we're going to make our little axis of symmetry. Pretend that's a straight line. That's not really very straight, but we'll pretend it is. Alright, now we need to figure out what our y is going to be for our vertex. Okay, so our vertex is 1.5 something. Okay, so I have negative 1.5 squared plus 3 times 1.5 plus 1. Okay, that is negative 1.5 times 1.5 is, let me double check myself, make sure before I say this. .5 times 1.5. Yeah, that's right. 2.25. So negative 2.25 plus 3 times 1.5 is 4.5 plus 1. Okay, so negative 2.5 plus 4.5 would be positive 2.25 plus 1, or 3.25 is y. So this is 3.25. Okay, so at 1.5, we're going to go to 1. Let's get our points out here. Okay, so at 1.5, 1, 2, 3.25. So right about there, somewhere in there. There we go. There's our, I don't like that. Let's take that out. Oops. Try that again. Right in there. Okay. Now, let's figure out when we go to 2.5 and then, or let's do 0.5 and then negative 0.5. Okay, so let's come over here, and I'm going to need some room, so I'm going to erase some of this over here. Okay. Alright, and we're going to go to 0.5. So I'm going to do negative 0.5 squared plus 3 times 0.5 plus 1. And 0.5 squared is 0.25. So negative 0.25 plus 3 times 0.5 is 1.5 plus 1. Okay, so negative 0.25 plus 1.5 is 1.25 plus 1 gives me 2.25. So at 0.5 we are at 2. Come on. Oh, it helps me go at the right thing. There we go. Oops. Let's right about there. Okay. And that's close enough to it. We'll call it good for government work. Okay. Now, let's go on over to negative 0.5. Okay, so erase all this. So we have some room again. Now, I have negative 0.5 squared plus 3 times negative 0.5 plus 1. And so, negative 0.5 squared is 0.25. So I have negative 0.25 plus 3 times negative 0.5 is negative 1.5. So let's come back and make that minus. So minus 1.5 plus 1. Okay? So I have 1.25 plus 1, or let's try that again. Negative 0.25 minus 1.5 plus 1. So negative 0.25 minus 1.5 is negative 1.75 plus 1 gives me y is equal to negative 0.75. Okay, so at negative 0.5, we're at negative 0.75. So right about there. Okay. All right, now we're going to come over here. Let's do this in some different colors. We'll do it in purple. That'll work. I'm going to go from my first point to my line of symmetry and on over. So right about here. Oops, that's a little high. Right about there. Okay, is my first point. And then I go over 1, 2. And over 1, 2. So right about here. Close enough. Alright, so now I have my points. Let's make 1, 2, 1, 2. That's correct. And now let's draw our lines here. Oops. There we go. Alrighty. And so now that's our graph for y equals negative x squared plus 3x plus 1. And that was all you needed to do for that equation. Okay? Alright, that's all I'm going to do on that section. Let's go to the next section here. Alright. Let's see. The next one. Write each function in vertex form and identify the different attributes. Alright. We're looking at number 14. Okay, number 14 is f of x, or y, is x squared minus 2x plus 6, or minus 6. Okay, remember we're going to identify our a. Okay, and my a is equal to 1, right? And remember, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And the a for both is going to be the same, right? So this is going to be y equals, a is going to be 1, so we're not going to worry about writing out our a. Now, let's figure out our vertex, because that will figure out our H and our K. Remember, our vertex is our H and our K for our vertex form. Okay. Now, again, find our axis of symmetry. So x equals negative b over 2a. So negative 2 over 2 times 1 gives me negative 2 over 2, or negative 1. So my vertex here, my x is negative 1. Okay, and then we're going to take our negative 1 and plug it in for our x's. So I'm going to have negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 minus 6 gives me 1. For negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is plus 2. Minus 6 gives me 3 minus 6, or negative 3. Okay, so there's the y in my vertex. Okay, so I have negative 1 for h. So I have x minus negative 1. So that gives me x plus 1 squared. And then k is negative 3. So my final answer is y equals x plus 1 squared minus 3. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's do number 18. Okay. So y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. Okay, again, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay. Oops. Alright. X. Find our axis of symmetry. Oops. For our vertex. Okay. So negative b over 2a. So I have negative, b is negative 4, over 2 times negative 2. So that gives me negative 4 is positive 4. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So I have 4 over negative 4, or negative 1 again. Okay. Okay, now plug that back into our equation. Okay, so I have negative 2 times negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 1 plus 6. Okay, now negative 1 squared is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And then plus 6. So negative 2 plus 4 is 2 plus 6 equals 8. So our vertex is at negative 1, 8. Now again, remember we said our A is the same in both forms. So negative 2 is my A here. So my A in my vertex form is going to be negative 2. Now, x minus negative 1 would be x plus 1 squared. And then k is 8, so plus 8. So y equals negative 2 times x plus 1 squared plus 8. Alrighty. That takes care of number 18. Alright. number 20 says sketch each parabola using the given information. Okay. First thing it says is my vertex is at 4, -2. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2, 1, 2. That's not going to work. Let me redraw these. Okay. Okay, close enough. Okay, vertex is at 4, -2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, 2. There we go. Alright, and then it says y-intercept is at 6. So that means 0, 6 is that point. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And that's still not going to give me enough room. Dadgummit. Okay. Let's undo all that. And let's change this background. Let's go to a medium square. Now let's try this. Okay. Alrighty. And better. Okay, let's try this again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So right there is my vertex. That means that is my line of symmetry. Oops. Okay. And then it says my y-intercept is 6. That means, as we said, 0, 6 is that point. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. There we go. Now, we're going to use our axis of symmetry. We're going to count from this point at 0, 6. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Units to my line of symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Drop my stylus. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there. Oops. Okay. There is the reflected point. Okay. So, we don't know exactly our slope, but we've got 3 points, so we're close enough. So, let's get a different color here. And we're just going to come down. We're going to loop back around. And there is the sketch of that graph. Okay? Hopefully that made sense, and sorry that took so long to get the background right for that that problem. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, I'm looking at this stuff, and for 22, 24, 26, and 28, and I think that we will look at this tomorrow because we didn't go quite into all of that in our examples today. So, let's just stop at 20, and tomorrow we will finish going over the rest of it. Okay? Y'all go ahead and have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Good night.